Okay, hi. I had to do a weird verification um, to be able to go live. Um, so I've been pretty busy working. Uh, got a promotion, so that's awesome. Zev finished his school program, um, and he's looking for a couple of new jobs. He got one uh, part-time job that he just started, and he's looking for new stuff um, and new trainings to do so to get into a new career. So I'm just testing out this new computer that I got. Um, I didn't think I would be able to talk too long. My voice is kind of tired. Um, but yeah, I wanted to see if I could honor a stream that I had scheduled. So I did delay this one a couple times, but yeah, been meaning to just catch up a little bit. Of course, we're seeing a ramp up of like just a lot of the uh, challenges that have been happening the last few years. Um, I think we're seeing a new um, era of lots of censorship. I know me and a bunch of other people on the Discord I'm on um, got disabled this week, and uh, that was really interesting. So it's ever more important to just, yeah, make sure you can maintain connections with people um, because we can't rely on all the different tech. I'm so glad CJ's here. I've been missing you. I've been wanting to talk um, about just a lot of stuff. So, um, yeah, overall, things have been good. And I've really just focused on just trying to take it easy when I get home from work. And luckily, this summer's been a lot easier than last summer was. So I'm grateful. I felt really strong this summer. I haven't taken any days off really. I think I've been doing a good job. My company's been taking care of me. So that feels nice. And this week, I got a text from someone out of the blue I haven't talked to for a decade. Um, this person, I worked with them a long time ago, and in fact, when I was pregnant with my daughter, she was the one I called to fill in for me the night before my daughter was born. And I never did that stuff. I never called out of my jobs. But that was a good excuse. And the whole season, the whole basketball season, for both my kids, I was working, and uh, they were born right at the end of the season. And my daughter came the very last game of the season that year. Right before she was born, right before tip off. So all year, the joke was like, okay, where am I gonna go if I go into labor, because I would have been like courtside. So luckily, I averted that. But just hearing from this person, um, of course, really brought back the vivid memories of uh, of that time. And now my kids are getting so big, and it's so cool to see them becoming, their own people. They're so funny, and we have a really good time. And this was the first week of school. So we found a really nice, small private school. It's pretty close to our house. The kids have been great this week, getting up, getting ready. It's stressful, like, especially by the end of the day today, Friday, they were just exhausted and a little emotional, but they really have done awesome so far. So I just pray that this school will be a good place for them for a while. Um, because everything is is it's fascinating right now because, like, in a lot of ways I feel very optimistic. I feel like I've never um uh had everything going so well, like, at the same time. I have great kind of contentment in my job. It's not always like fun, but there really are so many moments of enjoyment, and just it and I got a promotion that actually made my work days a lot easier most days. I just work a pretty short schedule, and then I'm on call for other people that flake out. So I get to train new people and still work a pretty decent amount of gigs every day, but I don't get paid hourly anymore. I get paid a weekly rate unless I go over my minimum hours. So it's pretty sweet. I'm not making the big bucks, but I've never had such a consistent job in my life. So, anyway, back to this girl that reached out to me from a decade ago, my former career in broadcasting. She wanted to interview me for this podcast she's producing now. Um, and it's funny because I realized that, like, one effect of what might be called like OCD is it's the thoughts. It's like you just can't get thoughts out of your head, um, rather than just like flipping light switches and stuff. So I kind of have quite a bit of that. I roll thoughts through my head constantly. Things just get stuck there, and all week I've just been thinking, what would I say in this interview? Like, I would feel like, one, like a fraud because I'm not in broadcasting anymore. Two, I was, a below the line grunt. So it sucked and it was really hard. And I mean, I'm sort of jaded. I don't encourage women to go into broadcasting. I don't encourage anyone to go into broadcasting. But I I actually learned a lot of great lessons from my experience there. You know, um, I realized, uh, when I left that business, and I was finally willing to just walk away from it entirely and not accept random jobs for extra money, but to just stick with the plan of never going back. Um, and I still get like calls some occasionally. Most people I've told to just take me off their list, but I do still get random offers, and so I always, for a minute, think, well, it'd be nice to get an extra paycheck. Um, but I've been taking care of myself. My throat's a little froggy now, but I've been feeling good for a long, long time, and I've been feeling strong. Um, it just feels good to have recognition from one employer and to do something tangible for people, and most of the time they appreciate it. Sometimes people are crummy, um, because they make kind of unfair complaints, but I can see too that many folks are stressed and things are challenging. And um, I just kind of I find it funny because I'm actually handling things better than I ever had. So, we all have our struggles in life, and I think it's weird to like watch sort of spoiled people that have never had certain challenges, like where are you going to live, what are you going to eat, you know, limited support networks and stuff. Some people are spoiled in ways that are like material, but they're still lacking like the emotional support. So, I think that's the great divide. Um, we're all trying to find blame for like a bad guy, like the premise of this podcast is like, you know, women breaking into like a man's world. And I just think that's probably the wrong way to like look at anything, because if you introduce diversity, it's going to change the whole dynamics of everything. And so I don't have the answers for geopolitics or whatever, but I have ideas. I think about these things a lot because my family's really kind of diverse, and so it's like that idea of the conquered marrying the conquerors. Both are a part of me, I feel like, in a lot of ways. So I can see why like it's important to give any person encouragement to just chase their dream. But I realized it was okay to let my dreams go because I found out, ooh, this is not for me. I tried it. I really gave it a good effort. Um, I sort of deluded myself into thinking that like it would just all work out if I just chased my dream, but I wasn't practical about it. Maybe, had I just set aside a certain amount of money and been really honoring a budget and all that, then I could have made it better. But it wasn't for me. Like sports guys, sports people, people that work in production that are really good, they have a technical skill, they have aptitudes with that part of the job, but they also really love the sport. And I was never in it for that. Um, I appreciated sports. I played them, competed, but you have to have this other level of passion. Like my camera guys that would work the entire game. They'd run a camera. They'd go home. They'd rewatch the whole game to watch their camera work and to watch the show. So that's the level that you got to be at and be willing to be a grunt and be treated like crap. And then now the complexity of the new era. And so I think what I am optimistic about though is people that have passion, people that think they're tough enough to go through that punishment of learning about not just teamwork, not just honing your own craft, you know, but the hierarchy. Like people have to be humble enough to kind of get beat up being the low man on the job. And that's not to say to like really dehumanize people. But I got banned or disabled from Discord for like dehumanizing content, and like it was vague, but it was like the terms of service. And the last point was like, or for example, like denying the Holocaust. And I was like, what? Me? For real? And so I thought, oh my God, like the uh the AI sweepers are really coming in hard. Like they just pushed up the sensitivity or something because they're banning me for these kinds of things. And I'm like, oh wow, it's so weird to me, because yeah, like I want my kids to be respectful to other kids. I want to be respectful to my neighbors, to the people at the grocery store, to anyone. I and so I thought it was pretty funny that I would get disabled, and for that reason, because and my husband thought that was hilarious too, because he is on a bunch of Discord chat servers with people, and you know they're sharing dumb, stupid, crass shit. And so I thought, I was thinking about it too, that from the aspect of, Facebook's a little different. You're kind of like exposing everyone in your entire network to everything that you post. But Discord servers have, you know, clear like channels and forums and like so many different ways to curate the content. So it seems like it doesn't apply in the same way as like making a YouTube channel where anyone can search any YouTube video. And so yeah, you might want to kind of like dial in some parameters of like appropriateness, or at least warning, you know, verifying ages or trying to. Um but I get that, Like I don't want my kids to see everything on the internet. I don't want to see everything on the internet. Um But yeah, I thought that the great thing about a place like Discord, that idea of breaking down content, curating it, having members in a group, I thought that was kind of a safe way to like push boundaries, in your own little group. Um, but I guess it's just really dangerous to let people, you know, talk at all. Um, And so, yeah, I find it really interesting because a lot of people just made new accounts and were able to rejoin the original server we were all gathered in. But so many users dropped recently from Discord. So it was like they were really doing this broad thing. It wasn't like me and my group of friends that I might be associated with were merely targeted or something. Um, it was it was different. It wasn't like somebody falsely complained about us. It seems to be a wider net that they're casting. Um, and maybe it is, just a way to see, like, okay, well, if people leave this service, where do they go? Where do they migrate? And who are these friends? What names do they use and stuff? And so I I'm trying to think about the implications of all this, because I just want to be informed. Um, I I have a genuine interest in, community essentially. So I don't want to be the one that is a proponent of things that have a ill-intended consequence, but see, it's so much harder to even project possible consequences now. Things are so complicated. There's so many factors to consider. So I do just genuinely hope that we can maintain some semblance of um, working out problems together, um, and I don't know how we'll be able to do that without being able to communicate. So it just makes me think, well, all the things I have to be grateful for, and when we're lucky enough to find something good in an otherwise pretty scary, gross, dark place, like the internet, like the world, you um it's really nice. Like CJ, my friend on YouTube, I don't know how we stumbled into each other, but thankfully that's one person I met online that is just kind and makes me, you know, excited to like keep going on my little ramble here. Um but in this Discord, I've actually been on voice chats with a lot of these new people um the last few months, and it's really helped me out of, you know, isolation. Part of my isolation was self-imposed because I decided to stop screwing around and goofing off, and I just wanted to get serious about, family life, uh, uh, not like a professional career, but just like a discipline in my daily life. And I found a job that has taught me a lot more about discipline than I knew before. And so I had set that as a goal, and I'd decided that part of my problem with my career was that essentially I'd sidelined life so that my number one priority would be to take a job at all cost. So I'd work 3 jobs in a day if I had to, if it was doable. I would make it stretch, and it would piss somebody off because, I wouldn't be fully present for one job because I'd be halfway out the door to my next one. So I realized that was dumb. People hated me for that shit. Um, so I learned how to knock that off and just get to work. But a lot of my social life was just work people, and I have a very few long-standing friends that have reached out to me since I stopped working. But most of them, they're too busy. I get it. I'm not reaching out to them either. I'm still a bit jaded about, well, frankly, jaded at the ones that coerced my peers to do things and not give them a choice in the matter, a take it or leave it um, option, which is just a bad situation. Um, because even me, I felt I lost part of my identity by being excluded. Um, so yeah, that sucked. But I have made, at least one dear friend from that world. And so I'm really just valuing those quality relationships over the quantity. And a few weeks ago I went to a fun show with two of my friends from high school. It was like a hilarious parody um, stage show, like a small theater, and it was really fun. And I don't think that we'd all laughed like we laughed in high school for a while. So, and we weren't, getting sloshed at a bar or whatever. It was just like kind of a fun, down to earth thing. So I'm super lucky that that I have friends that have put up with me since I was 14 that still call me now. So I'm super grateful for that. Um But yeah, we'll see if I actually do this podcast interview. It's just spinning around in my head like, oh man, I'm gonna say some dumb shit and they're just gonna not ever air the interview probably, or they'll just go a different direction and not follow up. But either way, it made me really excited, to be honest. I was honored because Casey said, she thought of me because she thought I was always very encouraging of other, women, and including her. And I thought that was really cool. And I don't want to exclude anyone from my encouragement. I encourage everyone to at least try. Whatever unattainable dream, try it out and find a bunch of mentors, like different mentors. Talk to every single person that does different jobs in the field. Find out if there's like something missing in the whole operation. What would it take to learn, how to bridge a gap? That's where things in society and business culture and politics in our whole world could possibly change. I want to hang on to that hope. um but I think it's time for all of us to really learn how to do the crummy jobs at the bottom of the ladder and figure out, oh, okay, is this a ladder I want to climb? Does doing this hard work teach me the value of going back and studying like something serious? Who knows? You never know, but I think it's a great way to get used to, the gig economy that we're facing now. I mean, because it's a horrible uh, thing to never know when your check is actually coming. Is the gig gonna happen? They can cancel at the last minute. The company can go under and not pay you for work you've done. You skip out on weddings and events and things you've been invited to that you've planned on going to, but you decided, oh no, I got a last minute gig. I can't afford not to work. I have to say yes to every opportunity I'm ever given, because if I say no, then they won't call me back. So that was the kind of shit that I would do that really ruined it for me. Um, and I think it ruins life for a lot of folks in the industry, but I think they still love it. Um, so they're sort of like the gluttons for punishment. I'm kind of like that. So yeah, I'm glad I can reflect upon that. I don't think um, I made any mistakes that were big enough that I can regret them, because as they like to joke in television, you know, if you make a mistake, nobody died. The stakes are lower. Um, but still, the expectation is very high. And so it's rough. And it can be really rough sitting next to a super grumpy person for hours and hours, but you still show up and you try your best to get your work done. So I think that's an important lesson anyone can learn. Um, and, I myself, I just am trying to challenge myself to not be so into the material, um, really get creative with what I already have to work with. Um, show my kids that that versatility, you know, um, not being disappointed when something doesn't go quite your way, because we can always, try something different, you know, go again next time, plan ahead better, blah, blah, blah. So I know it's really tough for the kids right now, but they're sweet. They're sweet, sweet kids. And I'm really lucky for the challenge, even though I may be sort of numb to the degree of challenge I'm facing. I think that delusion is a self defense. I think it's our shield. Um, I mean, childbirth, it sucks. It's painful, even when it goes well. And I was very healthy and I had very easy births and I had no complications or problems, and my kids were healthy. It was still super hard, you know? So I can't quite relate to challenges greater than the ones I've faced, but I certainly feel that I recognize folks are struggling. My tips are not as good these days, um, but I'm still getting 5 stars. So people are getting good service, but they can't tip. That's okay. I get it. I'm in the same spot. And, this one lady, she was like super late coming home from work. She asked me to come back at like sunset if I could. And I said, yeah, and she's working at a hospital for 12, 13 hours a day. It's like, yeah, I'll try. If I am available, I'll try and help you. I'll try and work a little bit later if I can. I did some yard work for one of my other Scoop clients, who's deaf, and she's old. She's on oxygen, so she can't really walk around. Um, it's hard to communicate with her, but we figure it out. And I told her, I'm like, I don't want your money really, but I'll help you if I can. So it's like I'm trying to be there when folks really need it, but I'm also not pushing it too much. I'm really just trying to stick with like the tasks at home, making lunches and reading with the kids and checking their homework and playing. We have a great time. So we got to go up to this cool ranch um a couple weeks ago, before school started, and the kids got to ride on some little ponies in the corral. And my nephew, he's like a really, really tough toddler. um Super, just, yeah, throws tantrums and stuff. And he desperately wanted to get into this corral with the horses, and I had to watch him for a minute, and thank God he didn't throw any fits. He was impatient, but he didn't throw any fits. And then when he got on that horse, just the happiest kid I've ever seen, the happiest face. So those are the little silver linings in life that I'm reflecting on, because I think I was listening earlier to, I didn't finish the stream from earlier tonight by Dark Journalist. He was saying some of these guys, their game plan is that no one will ever be ready for how dirty we can be. And so, yeah, like there might be some people out to do some pretty dirty things against, against just some good people. Um, but I want to teach my kids that, like, yeah, we're capable of cleaning up messes, and it might suck and it might be terrible, but yeah, we can do the things that nobody else wants to do. And they might say we're out in the weeds here. Um, but I think we need to get back a little bit to not swinging the pendulum so far, you know. Um, I think tension's good. I think you keep things in check with like fair competition, keeping a standard of quality that's high. Hello, Thomas. Um, so it's not to say that like we should have no conflicts. They're important. But yeah, I want to figure out how to do these things different. Um, so anyway, my Discord group that they're trying to disband us all. It's really some important archival work. Um, and it's not even like coming to conclusions, uh, but really just gathering first primary source materials for research. Because that's a lot of what gets criticized if you talk against any kind of narrative. Now it's called mainstream, but I think that in itself is a twist. There's no mainstream narrative, okay? There's the manufactured narratives that come from different positions, different points of view, bias. They're swinging you different ways. So when you talk about topics that are unknown, it's very easy to counter with the ad hominem kind of attack. And that's what I've been thinking about, calling yourself a researcher now means you're a conspiracy theorist, nut job. And I have over the year or so been sorting through various nut jobs, people that I've stopped listening to because they've like spun out into the stratosphere of just craziness. But I wanted to still listen to all these points of view as much as I could to to have perspective, to have that vocabulary, because you can't think about something if you've never seen it. You need to be able to conceptualize based on some kind of like reality that you can associate and tie it together. Otherwise it doesn't make sense. My brain, it's weird, maybe it's brain damage, I don't know, but I tend to have just looping thoughts where just something I heard, it I can't quite figure out why it matters, but my brain hangs on to it, and then I hear that phrase again and have instant recall. So I like that. I might solve I might solve the crime like uh years late. Um but at least, At least I find some resolution down the road. And so that gives me hope. Like I don't need all the answers now. That's not what's important. Right now what matters is that we're just gathering all of the wonderful information that's still available to us. There's still so many beautiful books available that aren't PDF form. Books you can hold in your hand and read. And I am such a collector of things. So, I'll have two editions of the same book printed in different years. And I'll compare like just the slight differences from one edition to another. Maybe it's just an introduction that's changed, or, a new forward from the author or something like that. And that's history. You know, those are the little pieces of research that I like to collect. I'll leave the analysis to others for the most part, but I'll have my own opinions too. So I think, yeah, I can understand, like, you want to ban certain things, um, for whatever reason. But I feel like, yeah, it's getting too broad sweeping, and there's no need for that right now when we're able to curate all of our own music. you know um if I'm listening to my headphones, nobody should be telling me to turn the music off unless I'm doing a job where I'm endangered. If I'm not listening to my surroundings, you know I can understand my neighbor yelling at me to turn my stereo off that's blasting, you know in his house right next door. So, yeah, why can't I have a private Discord channel, like, and talk shit with friends? Like, why, if somebody's so offended, can't they leave? You know, that's my question. So, I mean, I'm just trying to figure this out. I don't know, but it's exhausting. So, just wanted to check in about some of these things. I haven't had any of my YouTube channels, like, videos flagged or anything like that yet, but it'd be interesting to see how they do the retroactive, like, once they dial up the sensitivity on just the AI pulling shit, or they update terms of service because based on new laws that have suddenly been enacted overnight. Um, it's interesting times, that's for sure. I just want to follow it. I just want to see, because we have to analyze the past to understand, you know, what's actually going on now. Um, UBS Bank, I believe, they just got fined for stuff they were doing back in 2008 from that financial crash. Can you believe that? It took them 15 years. And in 2006, I was thinking, I'm supposed to be graduating from college right now. There's no there's no good prospects. This this stuff is a mess. I'm not going into debt for a degree. So, yeah, I dinked around. had a grunt career, which I loved. But now I realize, man, yeah, I would hate that if I were still I would hate myself if I were still doing that now. Um, because I knew that I had other interests that I wanted to pursue. And actually, my shitty job that I have now gives me so much time to listen to so many different interviews and to get to finally, just ponder like a much bigger picture. Um, and I do try and just reserve some of my initial reactions to things and just think critically and pick out, okay, well, where's the misdirection here? Where's the sleight of hand here with this version of the presentation? So, like a few months ago, I was listening to a little bit of um, a guy named Jonathan Cooey, who's just totally um, impossible for me to listen to now, and Mark Kulatz. And it's so weird to watch this, just as an example, these two people spin off into a direction that, if anything, I I don't want to judge them beyond I don't want to be like that. I want to really reserve myself as best I can to keep it cool, keep it rational, follow actual data. So I've been following uh, Charles Rixey and Dr. Kevin McCairn and others that are doctors, researchers, etc. They're really, really cataloging some important work. They've got some exciting things coming up. Even though our groups can trying to get disbanded, it's so funny because it's like truly like a it's a crass group, but it's so like family friendly. Like we really just want people to be able to have a future. And it's not this thing where it's like, well, they have good intentions, but I mean, no, like, I don't even know. There's so many metaphors to use, but I'm just glad I have a little bit of space to work these thoughts out, talk about it, in the present, and God only knows what the conversation might mean to somebody else. For me, this video is for me, it means a lot that I can just get it off my chest. So I'm super grateful. I've got a couple here live just hanging with me. So that's really helped me just, yeah, push through this because I've been avoiding it. I guess I went back into a little bit of a fear mode where like I worry about way too much now. I just don't want to embarrass my kids. Um, but I think we got to get over that. And I think to some degree, we all are going to become martyrs in a sense when we say anything, which is so weird. Like, you'd want to be a martyr for like something really big that mattered. And so yeah, I guess we just all got to be like little lemmings and just keep trying. And yeah, they'll like, we're little, they'll squash a lot of us, but like not all of us, you know. And it's not like we're really that mean or scary. Like, we actually just want to do the best for our kids and, you know, want to enjoy life a little bit, just try and get by. So there's so many people working so hard just to like feel good. So many people used to feeling like crap. And so I'm just praying for us all right now. Um, but yeah, I think I'm going to cut it. And I always say, whatever. I really have no idea when I'll do another one of these. Um, but I do hope I'll have the energy to do one soon. Um, I've been reading some cool things and had a bunch of ideas, but I just don't ever put anything together officially. So, um, yeah, I really just wanted to say that this quote really hit me tonight. No one will ever be ready for how dirty we can be. That's their position. That's the position of the people that want to call me um, someone who should be banned for dehumanizing content. That is crazy. But that's how dirty they are, you know? And I'm not perfect. I'm an asshole, but you know, I really care too about people, you know. I'll walk around a neighborhood with a stray dog and go to the vet and get their chip scanned and get him in touch with their owner. I'll stop and call 911 for the old guy that falls on his bike in front of me. I'll go 30 minutes out of my way at 7 o'clock at night to scoop shit right before dark for some nurse that's worked 13 hours. Like, yeah, I wanted her to tip me that $20. So I'm a little bit selfish. Like, yeah, it makes me feel good when I can help my neighbor shovel the walkway or whatever. But yeah, I also think I should be able to like burn off some steam and talk some trash um, without getting totally blocked from a private group. Like, no one in the group complained about me. It was from the outside, you know. So it's weird. It's weird time. And I don't like it. But I've always talked too much, so it would be perfect that I just, you know, get shut down from my big fat mouth. So yeah, I'll be talking again soon, of course. Thanks, y'all. Good night.